guys, and welcome back to the Hobby Dude 007 channel. Most all of our parts for the 40 Ford Modified are in the dehydrator or air drying to gas out. I'm going to give that just a couple of days, but in the meantime, I wanted to get back over to our Tom Daniels Cherry Bomb out of box kit and just get it kind of going. So let's do it. Bring your model to life with MCV products. Visit them on the World Wide Web at mcvproducts.com. To start off, I'm going to do the trailer and the motorcycle first, and the reason I want to do these first is to experiment with the paint we decided to use. If you recall, it's going to be that kind of chrome finish red. And I think this is going to look pretty good. If it turns out like it is in my head, I'm going to like this a lot. But as you can see, that's pretty reflective. So we're going to be using that, and I do want to experiment starting here. So to begin with, we're going to do the trailer and the motorcycle, and we'll get everything dressed out here. And so for the trailer, I'm going to get this stuff out of the way here. As you can see, it's just a few parts to it, and I've got some of it in the stripping, all the chrome anyway. But it's a two-piece trailer, and as you see when it goes together, hey, right out of the box, I just took this stuff off the sprue. And kudos again and big thanks to our buddy Jeff Lawless, the bearded guy. Head over, check out his channel. The bagged kit I bought was missing the lower section of this, and Jeff was gracious enough to help us out with that and send us another one. But hey, from two different kits, these things match up, I mean, almost flawlessly. I ran a piece of sandpaper down when I cut them off, and they feel pretty good. They really do. You can see a little gap right up in here, and so we'll get that glued up and clamped together, and then we'll smooth all this out again, see if there's any filler that's required. But one thing I want to do first is, you see where the wheels will go down in the trailer there for the chopper. I want to paint that all up inside here a darker color, so it'll have a little more of a contrast there. And then I'm thinking about between the tires here having like a section of rubber black between here and here, right under the belly of the bike. I don't know that I'll do that yet because of that reflective finish. I may want that to reflect back up on the bike, but it's just something I thought about. But we're still in that planning stage at the moment. But we're going to go ahead today, get this glued up, clamped up, let it cure. And that bike, by the way, I got the frame glued together, is going to sit right down in there. And you see where the chopper front wheel is aimed at that front one. And then the rear tire will just seat right down in here. I think this is going to be a pretty good little display, and the small pieces that are chrome here, and then the rims, those are in the purple pond right now. We're stripping those. I like to do my own chrome, as you guys probably remember, but this is going to get done. And also going over to the chopper, the pipes, the front forks, the sissy bar, the engine, all of these were in chrome. So we've taken and put those in the purple pond along with the spokes and the wheels. And as you recall, once we get a coat of light primer on these, we're going to try to thin those spokes down, because you know how on kit spokes, whether it's on a top fueler or whatever it is, to me, the spokes don't look in scale. They look too thick. But of course, for what they are, the moldings, they kind of have to be. But the chain was also in chrome, so all of that's going to be redone. We've got the seat. This was already off the sprue, and so it had fallen off or gotten knocked off somehow. So there's a little rough spot up here, down on the side and down on the bottom. So we'll be sanding that up and cleaning up our seat a little bit. Same goes for the headrest that goes on the top of the sissy bar. You can see that little nub down there. It needs to come off. Our tires and wheels, as I said, what's in the purple pond, that is going to come out here shortly. But if you look at these tires, this one particularly, you see that little extra ridge there from the molding. I guess you can see that. But all of this needs to have a little wear look to it anyway. So we're going to use our tire mandrel that we got from Matthew over at MCV Products. By the way, if you want one of these, head over and check it out. But what we'll do is we'll drop this in here and chuck this into our drill. It's a little bit big shaft for the Dremel, and that's okay. Put that in the drill, and then we'll take our file, and as that's spinning, we'll take that down, give it a little bit of a worn look, like I said. And don't know if I want to white letter these yet or not, but we'll go ahead. I'm actually going to leave that on there. I have one that I had homemade from a Dremel piece for doing NASCAR tires, 24th scale NASCAR tires a long time ago. But this is one that I'm going to use to do the wheel backs. And as you can see on both of them there, you've got some little spots there. I could clean that up with just a file, but I like them to be nice and round. So what I'm going to do is just put that in here. And we'll spin those down. We'll get, now this will fit in the Dremel, and we'll get that in the Dremel. And then, well, may have to put it on the other thing. Anyway, you get the idea. And then we'll knock that down too. I think that is about everything. No, not quite. The headlights, they're multi-piece, so we got to put these side pieces on the other side there. And then, of course, there'll be a seam there, so we'll have to take care of that. Not a big deal. So we'll go ahead and get this stuff glued and clamped up. And I'll get some things cleaned up, some primer on some of it, and we'll be back. Okay, guys, so we've got our trailer cleaned up and clamped up. Looks really good, feels really smooth all the way around, and as you can see, these mounted right up with a clamp perfectly. Looks really good, so we're going to let that cure for about an hour. Went ahead and got these turned and nice and round. Also did the same with the tires and the tire mandrel. You can see a little gloss between the treads. I'll mask this and then hit that with some dull coat, and that'll bring that back down too. Wheel backs fit in really nicely. So that's done and out of the way. All of this on the seat and the bike itself is cleaned up. Got a little more sanding to do right down here, even though that's going to be under the seat. I want that to be nice and even there. And the back of the cherry bomb down here, I noticed I missed a little spot down there, so we're going to clean that up a little more too. But we're going to go ahead and get this stuff in primer. Headlights are assembled. They're together. You see that seam there. We're going to be cleaning that up a little bit. And we'll go chrome on these too. And in the purple pond, I'm going to go ahead and get all of these parts for the cherry bomb out of here, rinsed, cleaned up, and then we're going to take a look at the spokes on the for the motorcycle. If you remember, I had mentioned in another video that I'm going to try to thin those spokes down a little bit, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that after I get everything cleaned up. I think I'm going to get a coat of primer on it first, just to get an idea of what I'm working with there, and that way as I'm trimming those down, I'll be able to see the red underneath. Well, in this case, I actually think those are, let me look here. Yeah, red. So, but I'll get these rinsed and dried off real quick, and we'll go ahead and get a coat of primer on them. Well, the rest of the parts too. There's the one of the V-twin. I got two of them in here. The V-twin engine, one was assembled, and the other one's still in two parts. But the rest of the chrome for the entire car is actually in here. So we'll go ahead and get that done, primed up, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and get some primer on the frame. I've got a little bit of sanding where there's some seam lines on these bottom rails. Going to go ahead and get those cleared up and then get some primer on that. The little notch right here where the seat went down is a little bit bigger than it needs to be, so I've kind of sanded that and cut it down a little bit. So primer will be going on that. The trailer, I've taken the clamps off. It's been drying for about 2 hours. It's pretty smooth. I am going to work these edges a little bit more But I think overall it's looking pretty good. The engine halves, this one was already glued together. It was just kind of an extra. It was in that box that Jeff sent. And the exhaust, where the pipes go in back here and up here, they're so uneven. So I'm going to take this one that's not together yet, two pieces, and I'm going to just stick it together, see what I can come up with there. And I may try to clean those up before I actually glue it together, but we'll tinker with that and see. The tires are going to need to be scuffed a little bit, so we'll get those in our tire mandrel, and we'll get those kind of scuffed down a little bit. This rear tire is a little bit misshapen, so I'm gonna work on that a little bit. And I got another set of tires, but I'm gonna tinker with that one a little bit. One thing that kind of threw me backwards was this is not in primer. These chrome parts, wow. Most of the parts that I've dealt with, the frame, the trailer, the engine, the stuff that was not chrome actually is not bad. All that stuff that we did prime, and we'll talk about that in a minute, no real seam marks. But this stuff that was, when the chrome got off of it, wow. The seam lines are really bad. And where the connection points were, if you can see them, here and here, and down here on the front fork, the shock tie, they're pretty bad. So I'm going to have to do some rounding on those. And I'll also, you can see the flash really, well, if I can get it to focus, you can see the flash right here at the grips, clutch brake, right there. So that's going to have to be cleaned up. And I'm going to take my razor saw blade, the really ultra thin, and I'm going to cut right down through here, so you've got what is a little more realistic looking there. But this on the inside and down through here, that's going to have to be cleaned up big time. And I'm also going to mount the headlights. You see little notches there, and that's where the headlights will mount. And of course you see those seams, as you remember there, but when you prime them you see things a lot better too. So we'll get all that sanded off and those mounted up too. But all of this stuff is atrocious. This chain, oh man, the gears on the sprocket, it looks like there's one missing up here, and it's going to require a little bit of work with a file, but I think we can fix that. Also, the pipes for the back, look at this injection pin mark here. That is atrocious. So what I'm thinking we'll do is we'll just take a piece of 400 here, wrap that around, and just work that back and forth till we get that nice and rounded. Both pipes are the same. They look pretty rough. The trailer hitch, oh my word. You can probably see that seam line down through there, and it is really uneven compared to the other side. Kind of scraped the bottom of it off, but it needs to be reshaped back here, and we'll get some chrome on that. Sissy bar was the same, and it's bowed a little bit, so this is going to have to be a little bit of heat, and we'll straighten it back up. But those seam lines down the sides of it, again, it's not good. So, but you know what? Every project always has those little setbacks that you got to work a little bit more on. That's not a big deal. We'll get that knocked out, and I'll get that primed and ready for some chrome, or we'll get our black base on that. Going over to the parts that we've got done, there's our rear wheels and the wheel backs, the spokes for the bike, the seat, and of course those headlights. Now on these spokes, I've mentioned that we're going to thin them out. And I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. And in the next video, I think we're probably longer on this one than I wanted to go. So what we'll do is we'll get that for the next one. But see, from this side of them, and by the way, I did chuck these into the mandrel and then sanded them down round. But see, from this side, it doesn't really, at first glimpse, let me get this white back over here. It doesn't really look that bad. But the problem is, once you get them together and they're the way they're supposed to be, they don't exactly look that great, and they don't look in scale. Well, from this side, on any of them, you'll see the spokes look like real spokes. They're round, but if you turn these over, as you see, they're flat. And also, what you'll notice is in the centers, down in these little bitty, see that one's open right there. You notice this one, there's flash and it's closed. Flash, it's closed. Flash, it's closed. So half of this thing is not even open all the way around. So those are going to have to be open. And we'll do that with a small X-Acto blade. And I'll show you what we're going to do there. So we'll open them like this side. And that's the same. That one actually is open on all of them all the way around. So that's not bad. This one looks like it's open, and I think it was this one that was not. Yeah, this has got a couple that aren't. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to reverse this. We're going to turn this over. We're going to get a brand new blade, and what we're going to do is where this is flat on the backside, we're going to start very slowly. Not going to be in a hurry at all, but we're going to start here, and we're going to, at an angle, work these down a little bit. And what you'll have to do is you'll go all the way around, and then you're going to reverse it, and then you'll come back the other way, so that way you get both sides of the spoke, you don't miss it, and that'll thin that down a little bit. But you want to do it from the back side where you see the flat. And like I said, from the front, they look, well, you see the curvature. So we want that to look about the same, and by doing that, we're going to thin that down. And it is a time-consuming process. But normally, if you can find them, photo etch would work beautifully for this. But you see the little residue on my finger there and starting to come off now. So that's the way we're going to be doing that. And it's really not hard, it's just time-consuming. And in that it's out of box, I can't use photo etch on that. Okay, guys, I think that's it for right now. Next time you see us, we're going to have a little bit of paint on some stuff. We'll go ahead and have these done. The trailer I'll have in primer, and then we'll go from there. We'll start getting some chrome down. I'll rework that engine, and we'll give you a look at that too. Okay, guys, that's it. Hope y'all have an awesome weekend. God bless. We'll see you in the next video. Later, guys.